Speak English confidently. Hello, and welcome to today's video. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're just starting your English learning journey or looking to improve your speaking skills, this video is for you. Today, we're going to talk about something really important: how to speak English confidently. If you've ever felt nervous about speaking English, you're not alone. Many learners face this challenge, but with the right tips and mindset, you can overcome those fears and start speaking with confidence. Why confidence matters. Confidence plays a huge role in language learning, especially when it comes to speaking. Imagine knowing all the words and grammar, but still feeling afraid to speak. You might hesitate or avoid speaking in English altogether. That's why confidence is so important. It allows you to express yourself without fear, even if you make mistakes along the way. And here's the good news: confidence can be built. It's not something you're born with. It's something you can develop through practice and a positive mindset. When you speak confidently, you'll be able to communicate more clearly and connect with others in a meaningful way. Whether you're ordering food, chatting with a friend, or giving a presentation, being confident helps you feel more comfortable and makes the conversation flow smoothly. And don't forget, even native speakers sometimes feel nervous. The key is to keep practicing, stay calm, and trust that every step forward is progress. By the end of this video, you'll have some practical tips to help you speak English confidently every day. Let's get started. Understanding the fear of speaking. Common fears. Now that we've talked about why confidence matters, let's dive into one of the biggest challenges many English learners face: fear. If you've ever felt nervous or scared about speaking in English, you're definitely not alone. This fear is something that happens to most learners at some point. Let's take a look at some common fears people have when it comes to speaking English. First, many people are afraid of making mistakes. You might worry that you'll say the wrong word, use incorrect grammar, or misunderstand someone. This fear of making mistakes can hold you back from speaking at all, leaving you feeling stuck in your head, unsure of what to say. You might also fear that others will judge you, laugh at your accent, or not understand you. This fear of being judged can make you feel self-conscious and nervous, even when you know the language. Another fear that many learners experience is the fear of not being understood. You might think that if you don't speak perfectly, others won't understand you. You may be afraid that your accent or pronunciation will get in the way of communication. This fear can make you feel hesitant, even if you're trying your best. And lastly, some learners fear that they won't be able to express themselves clearly. English has so many words and expressions that it can be overwhelming to try to find the right ones in a conversation. This fear of not being able to express your thoughts properly can make you anxious, causing you to avoid speaking altogether. But the truth is, all these fears are completely normal. So, how do we move past them? Mistakes are part of learning. Let me tell you something important. Making mistakes is part of learning. In fact, it's one of the best ways to learn. When you make mistakes, you're showing that you're trying and practicing. Every mistake is a step toward improvement. Think about it this way. When a baby learns to walk, they fall down many times. But each time they fall, they get closer to walking without help. The same goes for language learning. If you're afraid of making mistakes, remember that every mistake is an opportunity to learn. If you say something wrong, it's okay. You'll probably get corrected, or you might realize it yourself later. Either way, you're learning. The more mistakes you make, the better you'll get at speaking. Even native speakers make mistakes. They might use the wrong word, forget a part of a sentence, or mix up tenses. And you know what? People understand them anyway. Why? Because communication is not just about perfect grammar or pronunciation, it's about understanding each other. As long as the message gets across, that's what matters. So instead of fearing mistakes, embrace them. Think of them as part of your journey. They're not something to be ashamed of, but something to be proud of. Every mistake you make is a small victory because it means you're getting closer to speaking confidently and fluently. Also, remember that you don't need to speak perfectly to be understood. People won't judge you as harshly as you might think. Most people are just happy that you're trying to speak their language. In fact, many native English speakers are supportive and impressed when non-native speakers speak confidently. It shows that you're making an effort, and that effort is what matters most. Practical tips for building confidence. Now that we've talked about why confidence matters, let's dive into some practical tips that will help you build your confidence when speaking English. These tips are simple but effective, and the more you practice them, the more comfortable you'll feel speaking. Start small, practice daily. The first tip is to start small and practice every day. You don't need to wait until you're perfect to begin speaking. In fact, speaking is the best way to improve. Start by speaking for just a few minutes each day. You can describe what's happening around you, talk about your plans for the day, or simply say things you know in English. The key is to make speaking part of your daily routine. For example, you could practice while you're getting ready in the morning. I'm brushing my teeth now. I will have breakfast after. Or when you're cooking, you can describe the steps. I'm cutting the vegetables. Now I'm boiling the water. This daily practice, even in small moments, will help you build your confidence over time. Use simple phrases and expressions. Next, let's talk about using simple phrases and expressions. When you start speaking English, it's easy to get overwhelmed by complicated grammar or big words. But you don't need to do that. It's better to start with simple, easy to remember phrases that you can use in everyday conversations. For example, phrases like "How are you?" or "I'm fine, thank you" are very useful. You can also use expressions like "I like it" or "I don't understand." As you grow more comfortable with these, you can slowly add more words or phrases. Start small and gradually challenge yourself with longer sentences. Remember, simplicity is key, especially at the beginning. Practice with a friend or language partner. One of the best ways to build confidence is to practice with a friend or language partner. If you can find someone to speak with, it makes the learning process more enjoyable and less stressful. It can be a friend who's also learning English, a teacher, or even someone you meet online who's willing to help. Try setting up regular speaking practice sessions. Even 15 to 20 minutes a few times a week can make a big difference. When you practice with someone, you can get real-time feedback, and it also helps you get used to speaking in front of others, which is key to building confidence. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. A supportive language partner will help you improve and encourage you to keep going. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll become, and your confidence will grow. Focus on pronunciation. Next, let's talk about pronunciation. While it's important to speak confidently, it's also helpful to work on your pronunciation, so people can understand you more easily. You don't need to have a perfect accent. but focusing on clear pronunciation will help you feel more confident when speaking. One way to improve is to listen to native speakers and repeat after them. You can watch videos, listen to podcasts, or even use language learning apps. Practice saying words out loud and pay attention to how they're pronounced. If you're unsure, look up the pronunciation online or use apps that give you instant feedback. Remember, the more you practice, the clearer your speech will become. And again, don't worry about sounding perfect, just focus on being understood, and your confidence will increase. Engage in real-life situations. Finally, engage in real-life situations as much as possible. One of the best ways to build confidence is to actually use English in the real world. This could mean ordering food in English, asking for directions, or even chatting with a colleague or a stranger. The more you put yourself in these situations, the easier it will become. For example, you can practice ordering coffee at a cafe, or making small talk with someone at the store. These experiences will not only help you practice speaking, but also build your confidence in real-world situations. Start with simple conversations, and as you become more comfortable, you can challenge yourself to talk about different topics. Engaging in real-life situations helps you get used to speaking English in different environments and with different people. It's a great way to build both your confidence and your communication skills. Overcoming mental barriers. Shift your mindset from fear to opportunity. Now that we understand how important confidence is, let's talk about overcoming some of the mental barriers that can hold us back. One of the biggest barriers many learners face is fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, or fear of not sounding perfect. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake you make is an opportunity to grow and improve. Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, start thinking of them as valuable lessons. Changing your mindset from fear to opportunity is the first step in overcoming these barriers. Every time you speak, you are practicing. You are growing. So instead of worrying about how you sound, focus on the progress you're making. Remember, the more you speak, the more confident you will become. It's all about embracing the learning process and seeing each conversation as a chance to improve. Stay calm and relaxed. Another important mental barrier is the pressure we put on ourselves to speak perfectly. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that every sentence must be flawless. But here's the key. Take your time and stay calm. When we rush or stress ourselves out, it can actually make it harder to speak clearly and confidently. So, take a deep breath before speaking. Relax your body and remind yourself that you don't need to speak quickly. It's okay to pause for a moment and gather your thoughts. The more relaxed you are, the easier it will be to speak naturally. Also, keep in mind that people are usually more understanding than we think. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Most people won't notice or won't mind. What matters most is that you are making an effort to communicate and connect. Celebrate small wins. The last step in overcoming mental barriers is to celebrate your small wins. It's easy to overlook the progress you've made when you're focused on perfection. But remember, every time you speak English, you're improving. Whether you manage to introduce yourself confidently, order food without hesitation, or simply finish a conversation in English, celebrate that moment. These small wins add up over time and will help build your confidence. A great way to track your progress is to keep a journal. Or make a note of the moments when you feel proud of yourself. Write down what you did well and remind yourself that every step forward is an achievement. The more you celebrate your successes, the more motivated you'll be to continue practicing. Practice exercises to boost confidence. Now that we've talked about why confidence is important, let's dive into some practical exercises you can start using today to boost your confidence when speaking English. These exercises are simple but effective, and they'll help you feel more comfortable and confident as you practice. Let's get started with the first one. Exercise 1. Self-talk. One of the best ways to practice speaking is by talking to yourself. You might think, why should I talk to myself? But here's why. It's a safe, no-pressure way to get comfortable with speaking in English. You don't have to worry about making mistakes because you're not talking to anyone else, and you can practice at your own pace. Start by describing your day or talking about something you enjoy. For example, you can say things like, I woke up at 7 a.m. today, or my favorite food is pizza. You can even tell yourself what you're doing in the moment. Like, I'm making breakfast or I'm reading a book. This helps you build fluency and get used to forming sentences in English. The more you do this, the more natural speaking in English will feel. Exercise 2. Record yourself. Next, we have the exercise of recording yourself. This might feel a little strange at first, but it's incredibly helpful. When you record yourself speaking, you can listen to how you sound and notice areas where you're doing well and areas that need improvement. Here's what you can do. Take out your phone or any recording device and speak for 1 or 2 minutes. You can talk about anything, your day, your plans for the weekend, or even describe a picture you see. Afterward, listen to your recording. Don't worry if it's not perfect, that's not the point. The goal is to hear where you can improve, whether it's pronunciation, fluency, or grammar. This will help you see your progress and give you more confidence as you continue practicing. Exercise 3. Mirror practice. Our last exercise is mirror practice. This one is great because it combines speaking with body language. Stand in front of a mirror and start talking. You can talk about anything you want. Maybe even introduce yourself in English. As you speak, pay attention to your facial expressions and body movements. Try to speak clearly and confidently, just like you would if you were speaking to someone else. Mirror practice is useful because it allows you to become more aware of how you present yourself while speaking. You can also practice your gestures and expressions, which are just as important as the words you use. Over time, this will help you feel more confident when speaking in front of other people too. These exercises, self-talk, recording yourself, and mirror practice are simple but effective ways to boost your speaking confidence. Try to do them regularly, and you'll notice a big difference in your ability to speak English with ease. Conclusion. Summary of key points. Now let's quickly go over what we've learned today. First, remember that confidence is a key part of speaking English. Without it, even the best learners might hesitate or avoid speaking. We talked about how common fears, like making mistakes or being misunderstood, are completely normal. But the good news is, making mistakes is part of the learning process. We also covered some practical tips to help you build confidence. Start by practicing daily, even just a few minutes. Use simple phrases, and gradually challenge yourself to speak more. Don't forget to practice with friends or language partners, and focus on improving your pronunciation. Real-life practice, like speaking to people in English, is also incredibly helpful. And always remind yourself that mistakes are okay, they help you grow. Lastly, we discussed the importance of shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing speaking as a test, view it as an opportunity to connect and learn. Encouragement and call to action. Remember, building confidence takes time, so be patient with yourself. Start small, stay consistent, and celebrate each small win along the way. Don't let fear hold you back. You have everything you need to speak confidently. Now it's your turn. Take the first step today by practicing one of the tips we shared in this video. Speak in English for just a few minutes, even if it's just to yourself. You've got this. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'd love to hear how you're building your speaking confidence. Let me know in the comments. Keep practicing, stay positive, and keep speaking confidently.